The morning sun rose over New Busan colony like it had for the past 20 years. Golden light spread across endless fields of green crops. Children ran to school while their parents worked in the farms. Nobody knew this would be their last normal day. Governor Kim Tae-ho stood on his office balcony, drinking coffee and watching the colony wake up. He was 55 years old, with gray hair and kind eyes. 20 years ago, he was a soldier fighting wars among the stars. Now he grew food that fed millions of people across space. He liked this life much better. "Governor, the morning reports are ready," said his assistant, walking into the office. Kim nodded and went inside. The reports were always the same. Crops. Growing well, no problems with the weather machines. Everyone healthy and happy. 50,000 people living good lives on a peaceful world. Dr. Park Ji-woo was already working in her lab when the sun came up. She was the colony's top scientist, a thin woman with sharp eyes who studied the soil and plants. Her job was to make sure the crops stayed healthy. She'd been doing this work for 15 years. The communication system is working perfectly. "Today," said her daughter Lee So-jin, walking into the lab. So-jin was 25 years old and ran all the colony's radio and computer systems. She was smart like her mother, but more outgoing and friendly. "Good," Dr. Park said, not looking up from her microscope. "The Earth transport ships will contact us next week. We need everything ready." Across the colony, Security Chief Choi Min-ho checked the morning patrol reports. He was a big man with strong arms and a serious face. The colony was peaceful, but someone still needed to watch for trouble. His job was usually boring, stopping fights between neighbors or finding lost children. He liked boring jobs. The security office had only 12 guards for the whole colony. They carried small weapons and drove patrol vehicles around the farms and towns. Nobody expected real trouble on New Busan. The colony was too far from the war zones. Too small to matter. Too peaceful to bother. Min-ho walked outside and looked at the clear blue sky. Transport ships came and went, carrying crops to other worlds. Everything was normal. Everything was safe. He was wrong, at exactly 10 o'clock. In the morning, So-jin's communication equipment started making loud warning sounds. She ran to the main console and stared at the screen. Her face went white. Mom, come here right now." Dr. Park rushed over. "What is it, ships?" So-jin whispered. "Big ships, coming out of hyperspace. 20, ... 30. I can't count them." All the screens showed dots appearing near the planet. Each dot was a spaceship. But these were not the friendly transport ships that usually visited New Busan. These ships were huge and dark and covered with weapons. So-jin's hand shook as she sent a message to Governor Kim. "Sir, we have unknown ships approaching the planet. Many ships, they look like warships." Governor Kim felt his stomach drop. He had hoped his fighting days were over. "Put me through to the lead ship," he ordered. The communication screen turned on. A face appeared that made everyone in the room step backward. The creature had green scales, yellow eyes, and sharp teeth. Looked like a giant lizard that learned to walk on 2 legs and wear military uniforms. "I am War Prime Kethper of the Vorthan Empire," the creature said in a voice like grinding metal. "This world now belongs to us. You will surrender immediately. You will become slaves. Anyone who fights will die slowly." Governor Kim took a deep breath. His hands wanted to shake, but he kept them steady. "I am Governor Kim of New Busan Colony. We are peaceful farmers. We have no military weapons. We have no soldiers. But we will not surrender," War Prime Kethfer laughed, showing rows of pointed teeth. "Farmers. How amusing. Humans are always so weak, so foolish. You have 1 hour to change your mind. After that, my soldiers will come down and take what we want." The screen went black. Governor Kim turned to So-jin. "Send a message to Earth Command. Send it to everyone. Tell them we are under attack." So-jin's fingers flew over the keyboard. She sent the same message to every human colony, every Earth military base, every ship that might be listening. The message was simple but desperate. "This is New Busan Colony, Sector 7 Alpha. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. 50,000 civilians need help. This might be our last message. Please remember us. The message shot out into space at faster than light speed. It would take 18 hours to reach the nearest human military base. Help was 18 light years away. The Vorthon Empire was 18 minutes away. Security Chief Minho got the news and ran to the governor's office. "Sir, what are your orders, Governor?" Kim looked out the window at the farms and schools and homes where 50,000 people lived their quiet lives. "We fight," he said quietly. "We have no choice." "Sir, we have 12 guards and some mining equipment. They have warships." "Then we teach them that humans do not give up easy," Kim replied. "Get everyone who can fight. Get every weapon we have. If we are going to die today, we die as humans." Minho nodded and ran out to gather his small security force. Dr. Park grabbed her daughter's hand. "Sojin, you need to keep sending messages. Tell everyone what happens here. Maybe someone will hear. Maybe someone will come. What about you, Mom? I will help with the wounded. There will be many wounded before this day ends." Sojin looked at her mother with tears in her eyes. "Are we really going to fight them? Can we win?" "No," Dr. Park said honestly. "Cannot win. But we can show them that humans do not go quietly into the dark. We can make them pay for every inch of our world." All across New Busan, normal people heard the news and made the same choice. Teachers picked up hunting rifles. Farmers loaded mining explosives onto trucks. Grandparents who remembered old wars cleaned weapons they had not touched in decades. Engineer Nam Dong-wook started changing farm machines into weapons. Plasma cutters became close combat tools. Heavy tractors became mobile shields. If they were going to fight, they would use everything they had in the schools. Teacher Yoon Hae-jin helped move the youngest children to underground shelters. The older teenagers refused to hide. They wanted to fight for their homes and families. Old Grandfather Bae Il-seok, who was 87 years old, loaded his ancient military rifle and smiled grimly. "I fought in 3 wars when I was young," he told his grandson. "I suppose I have one more war left in me." As the hour passed, the colonists prepared for battle. They were farmers and teachers and families. They had never wanted to be soldiers. But when faced with slavery or death, they chose to fight. Above them, 30 Vorthon warships waited like hungry predators. Governor Kim made one last broadcast to his people. "My friends, we face our darkest hour. We are not warriors. We are not heroes. We are just humans who love our families and our home. But sometimes being human is enough." The hour ended. The Vorthon ships began their descent. The battle for New Busan was about to begin. The first Vorthon dropships came down like metal rain. 30 black ships landed in the fields around New Busan's main town. Each ship was as big as a building and carried 50 alien soldiers. War Prime Kethfer stepped out of his command ship and breathed the morning air. He expected to see humans running in fear. He expected to see white flags of surrender. Instead, he saw empty streets and closed doors. "Where are the cowards?" he asked his captain. "Perhaps they are hiding, War Prime. Humans are known to be weak." Kethfer smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Then we will drag them from their holes." The first patrol of Vorthon soldiers marched down Main Street. Their green scales gleamed in the sunlight. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy. They expected an easy victory. They got a surprise instead. Security Chief Minho had placed his 12 guards in hidden positions around the town. When the alien patrol reached the town center, Minho gave the signal. Plasma cutters designed for mining or suddenly cut through alien armor. Hunting rifles cracked from windows and rooftops. Heavy farm machines charged out of alleys, their metal plows smashing into surprised Vorthon soldiers. The first alien patrol died in less than 2 minutes. War Prime. Kethfer heard the fighting over his radio and could not believe it. Impossible. They are just farmers. Sir, Patrol 3 is not responding. Patrol 7 reports heavy resistance at the school building. Kethfer's yellow eyes burned with anger. Send more soldiers. Send them all. Kill every human you find. But the humans were not acting like the weak prey the Vorthons expected. Engineer Nam Dong-wook had spent the hour turning farm equipment into weapons of war. Crop sprayers now shot acid instead of plant food. Grain harvesters became moving fortresses with spinning blades. Dr. Park Ji-woo worked in the medical center, treating wounded colonists. Her hands were steady as she bandaged cuts and set broken bones. "How many wounded?" she asked her assistant. 15 so far, but they keep fighting. Minho says the aliens are having trouble taking the school. At the school, teacher Yoon Hye-jin led 20 teenagers in defending the building. We had never fired a weapon before today, but her students needed protection. The teenagers fought like young lions, using their knowledge of the building to ambush alien soldiers in the hallways. "Miss Yoon, they are trying to break down the north door," shouted 17-year-old Park Jun-ho. "Then we stopped them there," Yoon replied, carrying a plasma cutter that had been a classroom tool yesterday. "Remember, this is our school. They do not belong here." The Vorthons broke through the door and found teenagers waiting with improvised weapons and desperate courage. The aliens had better armor and stronger weapons, but the humans knew every corner of their building. They fought from the shadows, struck fast, disappeared before the aliens could fight back. In the farm district, Farmer Lee Jae-soon used his 30 years of knowing the land to fight a guerrilla war. He knew every hill, every irrigation ditch, every place to hide. His neighbors followed him as he led ambush after ambush against Vorthon patrols. "The aliens do not understand our world," he told his fellow farmers. "They see flat fields and think we have nowhere to hide. But we know where the old mine shafts are. We know which ditches are deep enough. We make them pay for every step." Grandfather Bae Il-seok proved that age had not slowed his aim. From his position on the grain silo, he picked off alien soldiers with his ancient rifle. Each shot was perfectly placed. Each shot dropped an enemy. "Grandson," he called to young Bae Min-soo, "bring me more ammunition. Lizards need to learn that humans do not die easily." The boy ran ammunition to his grandfather while tears ran down his face. Not tears of fear, but tears of pride. His grandfather was showing the galaxy what humans could do. The battle raged for 6 hours. The Vorthons had expected to control the colony in 1 hour. Instead, they found themselves fighting for every building, every street, every room. Humans appeared from nowhere, struck hard, and vanished before the aliens could respond. War Prime Kethver grew more angry with each report. "How many soldiers have we lost?" 200 dead, War Prime. 300 wounded." The humans fight. Like demons, they are farmers, they are teachers. How can they resist the Vorthon Empire? His captain did not have an answer. The Vorthons had conquered dozens of worlds. They had enslaved species that were stronger and better armed than humans. But they had never fought an enemy that refused to give up. In the communication center, Sojin kept sending messages to anyone who might listen. "This is New Busan. We are still fighting. The aliens are taking heavy losses, but we cannot hold much longer." Her fingers flew over the keyboard as explosions shook the building. Each message was sent to every human colony, every military base. Every ship that might hear. Dr. Park Ji-woo ran into the communication center. "The medical center is full. We are moving the wounded to the school basement." "Mom, I am getting responses to our messages. The nearest military base is 18 hours away. Help is coming, but not soon enough." Dr. Park looked at her daughter with sad eyes. "Then we must hold until help arrives. Or we must make sure the galaxy remembers what happened here." By evening, the humans were running out of ammunition and medical supplies. The Vorthons controlled half the town, but they had paid a terrible price. Their easy conquest had become a nightmare of house-to-house fighting. Governor Kim gathered his remaining fighters in the town hall. 50 people, most of them wounded, all of them exhausted. They had been farmers and teachers and shopkeepers 12 hours ago. Now they were warriors. "My friends," Kim said quietly, "we have shown them that humans do not surrender. We have made them bleed for every inch of our world, but they are bringing more soldiers, more weapons." "What do we do now?" asked Minho. The security chief had a bandage around his head and his right arm in a sling. Kim looked around at the faces of his people. Teachers holding rifles, farmers carrying mining explosives, grandparents who should have been reading to children but were instead cleaning weapons. "We keep fighting," Kim said. "We are human. We do not know how to quit." War Prime Kethfer made his final decision as night fell. His ground forces had taken massive losses fighting these impossible humans. Time to end this with orbital bombardment. Prepare the plasma cannons, he ordered his ship captains. Turn their towns to glass. Gil. Them all, the Vorthan warships in orbit powered up their weapons. Energy that could melt mountains charged in their cannons. In the town hall, Governor Kim saw the alien ships glowing in the night sky. He knew what it meant. "Sojin," he called. "Send one final message." Sojin's hands shook as she typed, "This is Governor Kim of New Busan Colony. We fought today. We showed the galaxy that humans do not yield to tyrants. We are farmers, teachers, families, but we are human. Remember us. Avenge us." The first plasma blast lit up the night sky like a falling star. Governor Kim spoke into the microphone one last time. "We are human. Do not break." The bombardment began. The transmission cut to static. But 18 light-years away, someone was listening. Someone who would remember. One who would bring an answer that would shake the galaxy. Captain Han Woo-jin was drinking coffee in his ship's command center when the message arrived. The Use Indomitable was on routine patrol in deep space, far from any planets or trade routes. It was quiet work, boring work. Han liked it that way then. His communication officer looked up with wide eyes. "Sir, we are getting an emergency signal. It is ... It is from New Busan Colony." Han set down his coffee cup, put it on the main screen. The message played, and Han felt his blood turn cold. A young woman's voice, shaking with fear. "This is New Busan Colony, Sector 7 Alpha. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. 50,000 civilians need help. This might be our last message. Please remember us." The message was 18 hours. Old by now, New Busan was probably dead. "Sir," said his first officer, "New Busan is 18 light-years away. Even at maximum speed, we would take 6 days to get there." Han stared at the star map. 6 days was too long, much too long. But there was another option, an option he had hoped never to use. "Contact Admiral Shin," Han ordered. "Emergency priority. Wake her up." Deep in the ship's cold storage section, machines began to hum. Ice crystals melted away from a metal pod. Inside the pod, a woman had been sleeping for 200 years. Admiral Shin Yun-mi opened her eyes for the first time in 2 centuries. Her body was stiff and cold, but her mind was sharp. She had been sleeping, waiting for the day when humanity might need its deadliest weapons again. "Status report," she said. Her voice rough from the long sleep. Captain Han appeared on the screen. Next to her pod, "Miral, we received a distress call from New Busan Colony. They were under attack by unknown aliens. The message is 18 hours old." Admiral Shin sat up slowly. She was 60 years old when she went into cold sleep. Her face was marked with scars from old battles. Her eyes were the color of winter storms. "Show me the message," she ordered. Han played the recording. Admiral Shin listened to the fear in the young woman's voice. She heard the explosions in the background. She saw the faces of families who just wanted to grow food and live in peace. "How many ships do we have?" she asked. "Just the Indomitable Admiral. The rest of Ghost Fleet 7 is scattered across 3 sectors. Wake them all up," Admiral Shin ordered as she stepped out of her pod. "Every ship, every crew, full battle alert." "Admiral, that will take 12 hours just to wake everyone up." "New Busan might already be Captain Han," Admiral Shin interrupted, her voice like steel. "When humans call for help, we answer. When humans are murdered, we remember. When humans are wronged, we bring justice." She walked to the communication console and sent a coded message across space. The code had not been used for 200 years. It was the signal to wake the sleeping fleet. Across 3 star systems, 11 more ships received the signal. Each ship was as big as a city, covered in armor and weapons. These were not exploration ships or cargo haulers. These were warships, built for one purpose: to fight humanity's enemies. On the UES Relentless, Commander Okyongsu woke from cold sleep and immediately went to work. He was the fleet's tactical officer, a thin man with sharp eyes who could see battle patterns like a chess master sees moves. All weapon systems, report status, he ordered as soon as he reached his command post. Plasma cannons charging, sir. Missile tubes loaded. Nuclear warheads, armed and ready. Commander O nodded. Relentless had enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Today it might need every weapon. On the EU's Vengeance, Chief Engineer Kwon Sung-ho checked the massive engines that powered the ship. He was a big man with oil-stained hands who understood machines better than people. How long since our last maintenance? He asked his engineering team. 203 years, sir? Kwon smiled grimly. Then these engines are just getting broken in? Give me full power? We have aliens to kill. The engines of the Vengeance roared to life, pushing the ship faster than safety rules allowed. Kwon did not care about safety rules today. On the UES Retribution, Master Sergeant Kong Buara woke her marine units. She was a small woman, with muscles like steel cables and eyes like a hunting cat. Her job was to train soldiers who could fight in space, on planets or in the depths of enemy ships. Listen up, she shouted to her Marines as they climbed out of their sleep pods. 50,000 humans are dead or dying. Some alien species thinks they can murder our people without consequences. Today we show them they are wrong. Her Marines grabbed their weapons and armor. They had been sleeping for 2 centuries, but they remembered how to fight. 12 hours after Admiral Shin woke up, Ghost Fleet 7 was ready for battle. 12 ships filled with humanity's most dangerous weapons and most experienced warriors. Admiral Shin stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, looking at the star map. New Busan was a small dot of light 18 light-years away. By now, the colony was surely destroyed. The aliens were probably strip-mining the planet for its resources. Fleet status? She asked. All ships ready for hyperspace jump, Admiral, reported Captain Han. Weapons charged, Marines armed, engines at full power. Admiral, said Commander O over the communication system, our intelligence files show no records of this Vorthan Empire. They are a new threat. Then we will teach them an old lesson, Admiral Shin replied. Plot a course for New Busan. Maximum hyperspace speed. Admiral, even at maximum speed, we will take 36 hours to reach the colony. Admiral. Shin looked at the faces of her officers. These were veterans of humanity's darkest wars. They'd fought aliens before. They had seen human colonies burned and human families enslaved. They knew the cost of being too late. Maybe we are too late to save New Busan, she said quietly. But we are not too late to make the aliens pay for what they did. She turned to the navigation officer. Jump when ready. The 12 ships of Ghost Fleet 7 disappeared into hyperspace, racing toward a colony that was probably already dead. They carried enough firepower to crack planets and enough anger to burn solar systems. Admiral. Shin stood alone in her command center, looking at the stars streaming past at faster than light speed. She thought about the young woman's voice and the distress message. Sojin, her name was. She had sounded brave even when facing death. She had stayed at her post, sending messages, hoping someone would hear. I heard you, Admiral Shin whispered to the stars. I am coming. In hyperspace. Time moved strangely. The fleet would reach New Busan in 36 hours. But for the people of the colony, help was already too late. Unless some of them had survived. Unless some humans were still alive, hiding, waiting, hoping that someone heard their cry for help. Admiral Shin had fought in 12 major battles and won them all. She had destroyed alien fleets and liberated human worlds. But she had never felt anger like this before. These aliens had attacked farmers. They had murdered families. They had made war on people who just wanted to grow food and live in peace. Signal the fleet, she ordered. Battle stations. We go to war. 12 ships raced through hyperspace toward New Busan, carrying humanity's promise of justice and the galaxy's reminder that humans never forget their dead. The sleeping giants had awakened. The hunt had begun. 36 hours after leaving hyperspace, Ghost Fleet 7 arrived at New Busan. What they found made Admiral Shin's hands clenched into fists. The planet's surface was scarred with burn marks. Cities were reduced to ash. The beautiful farms that had fed dozens of worlds were now black craters. Smoke still rose from the ruins. Orbital scan complete, Admiral reported the science officer. Multiple mass grave sites detected. It's estimated 47,000 dead. Admiral Shin closed her eyes for a moment. 47,000 people. Farmers, teachers, children. All dead because some alien empire thought humans were weak. What about survivors? Detecting approximately 3,000 life signs in underground shelters and forest caves. Some are wounded, some are hiding from Vorthon patrols. 3,000 survivors out of 50,000. Admiral Shin felt something cold and deadly settle in her chest. These aliens would pay for every human life they had taken, Admiral called. The tactical officer, we have company. A Vorthon fleet detected. 100 ships in orbit around the planet. On the main screen, Admiral Shin could see the alien fleet. Their ships were ugly things, built for conquest and destruction. They sat in orbit like vultures, probably deciding which planet to attack next. "Sir," said Captain Han, "they are sending us a communication. Put it on screen." War Prime Kethver appeared on the screen, looking pleased with himself. His scales were bright green, and his teeth were sharp. Behind him, Admiral Shin could see displays showing new Bizon's destroyed cities. "Ah, more humans," Kethver said in his grinding voice. "We arrived too late, as always. This world belongs to the Vorthon Empire now. Turn around and leave, or join your colonial friends in death." Admiral Shin stepped forward where the alien could see her clearly. She was not a large woman, but something in her eyes made the Vorthon lean back slightly. "I am Admiral Shin Yunmi of the Earth Defense Force Ghost Fleet," she said in perfect Vorthon language. "You have murdered 50,000 human civilians. You have destroyed their homes and enslaved their children. In the name of humanity, I sentence your empire to death." Kethver laughed, but it sounded forced. 12 ships against our 100? Your threats are meaningless, human. We are the Vorthon Empire. We have conquered 40 worlds. Admiral Shin cut the transmission. "All ships," she broadcast to her fleet, "weapons free. No survivors." What happened next was not a battle. It was an execution. The Ghost Fleet had been sleeping for 200 years, but their weapons were still the most advanced in known space. Plasma beams that could cut through moon-sized asteroids lanced out from the human ships. Missiles that moved faster than thought streaked toward Vorthon vessels. Commander O coordinated the attack from the UES Relentless. His tactical mind saw the battle like a chess game, but this was chess played with weapons that could destroy solar systems. "Target their command ships first," he ordered, "then their carriers. Leave the smaller ships for last. I want them to watch their fleet die, piece by piece." The first Vorthon ship exploded in a ball of white fire. Then the second, and the third. War Prime Kethver watched his fleet die and could not understand what was happening. These human ships moved like hunters, striking with precision that seemed impossible. Their weapons cut through Vorthon shields like they were made of paper. How are they doing this? He screamed at his officers. How are 12 ships destroying our entire fleet? Weapons officer was dead. His communications officer was trying to send surrender messages that no one answered. His ship was dying around him, and he finally understood what terror felt like. Chief Engineer Kwan pushed his engines past every safety limit, giving his ship more power than it was designed to handle. The weapon systems drank that power and turned it into death for humanity's enemies. Master Sergeant Kong prepared her Marines for boarding actions, but there was nothing left to board. The human weapons left no survivors, no intact ships, no trace that the Vorthon fleet had ever existed. In 23 minutes, 100 Vorthon warships became debris clouds floating in space. War Prime Kethver's flagship was the last to die. As his ship fell apart around him, he managed one final transmission to Admiral Shin. "What are you?" he whispered, his voice full of fear and disbelief. Admiral Shin looked at him with eyes like winter stars. We are what happens when you push humans too far. You're the price you pay for murdering our families. You're the darkness that comes when you try to put out human lights. The Vorthon flagship exploded. Prime Kethra and his dreams of conquest became cosmic dust. The Ghost Fleet descended to New Bisan's surface like avenging angels. Master Sergeant Kong led her Marines to the underground shelters where human survivors were hiding. The first shelter they found held 200 people, mostly children and elderly. They had been hiding for 2 days, drinking rainwater and eating emergency rations. When they saw human soldiers, many of them cried. Dr. Park Ji-woo was among the survivors. She was thin and wounded, but her eyes were still sharp. Are you real? She asked Master Sergeant Kang. Or am I dreaming? We are real, ma'am, Kang replied. We heard your message. We came as fast as we could. My daughter, so-Jin, She stayed at the communication center. She kept sending messages until Dr. Park could not finish the sentence. Kong put a gentle hand on the older woman's shoulder. We will find her, ma'am. We will find all the survivors. In the forest caves, they found teacher Yoon Hai-jin with 37 children. She had kept them safe for 2 days, telling them stories and sharing the little food they had. When the Marines arrived, she finally allowed herself to collapse from exhaustion. They found Farmer Lee Jae-sung hiding in an old mine shaft with 43 other survivors. His knowledge of the land had saved their lives. It led them through secret paths the aliens never found. Old Grandfather Bae Il-seok was found in a grain silo, still holding his ancient rifle. He had been wounded in the leg but refused to leave his post. Did we win? He asked the Marines. Yes, sir, they told him. We won, but not everyone survived. Governor Kim died defending the town hall, his body found surrounded by dead aliens. Security Chief Min Ho fell protecting a school full of children. Engineer Nam Dong-wook died setting explosives that destroyed 3 Vorthon dropships. And so Jin. They found her in the communication center, still at her post. She had died sending humanity's cry for help to the stars. Admiral Shin walked through the ruins of New Busan, seeing the cost of the colony's resistance. These people had been farmers and teachers, not soldiers. But when faced with slavery or death, they had chosen to fight. She stopped at a small monument that the survivors had built. It listed the names of all who died defending their home. 47,000 names, including children who should have grown up to see the stars. Admiral, said Dr. Park, approaching. Quietly? Will you stay? Help us rebuild. Admiral Shin looked at the older woman with respect. We will leave construction teams and defense platforms. New Busan will be protected. But the Ghost Fleet must return to patrol. There may be other colonies that need our help. Dr. Park nodded. So Jin would have wanted that. She always said humans should help each other. That evening, Admiral Shin sent a message across all communication channels in the galaxy. Every species, every government, every military force would hear her words. This is Admiral Shin Yoon-mi of the Earth Defense Force Ghost Fleet, today. We found the colony of New Busan destroyed by the Vorthon Empire. 50,000 humans were murdered. Their only crime was growing food to feed the galaxy. Let this message reach every corner of space. Humanity does not seek war, but we will not tolerate the murder of our people. We do not want to conquer others, but we will defend our own. To those who would prey upon human colonies, know this. We remember every wrong, we honor every fallen, and we answer every call for help. The stars heard New Bisan's SOS. We brought retribution, and we will come again. The message spread across the galaxy at the speed of light. On 1,000 worlds, alien leaders listened and understood that humanity was not as weak as they had believed. The Ghost Fleet left New Busan 3 days later. They had given the survivors everything they needed to rebuild: construction equipment, medical supplies, defense weapons, and most importantly, hope. Dr. Park became the new governor. She promised that New Busan would grow again, stronger than before. The memorial to the fallen would stand at the center of the new town, reminding everyone of the price of freedom. Years passed. New Busan grew into a beautiful world again, with green farms and happy families. Children played in parks where battles had once raged. But they all knew the story of how their world was saved. And somewhere in the deep darkness between stars, 12 ships continued their patrol. Admiral Shin and her fleet waited and watched, ready to answer the next human voice crying out in the night. The galaxy learned to fear that cry. Because when humans called for help, the Ghost Fleet always answered. And when the Ghost Fleet arrived, justice followed like thunder after lightning. The stars had heard the SOS. Human warships had brought retribution. And the legend would never die.